So I got all the bolts out of the water pump. There was 4 5/16 and 3 3/8 bolts that were longer that go into the block. This is a 2-piece water pump. So there's an outer piece and an inner piece. Kind of weird. So let's see if we can get this off of there. Well, it looks like the whole piece came off. So here's the water pump assembly. As you can see, it is 2 pieces. This is where the bearings were all wiped out. This is the inner piece. That would mount to the block. Now we got a little mess to clean up. Alright guys, so I was just fitting this gasket on this inner piece of the water pump. It's going to go on here too. And it looks like, to me, there's a lot of extra that's going to be covering that. So let's try to fix that. You can see it there. It's overlapping the water pump. So the outlet where the water is going to be coming into the water pump. So let's just trim that right now. Probably is an unnecessary step, but I like to keep these things clean and do a good job as I can. I'm going through the trouble. Yeah, that looks a lot better. So now that shouldn't have any issues. I like using Ultra Black for any gasket that I make. It's oil resistant. It seems to be a pretty darn good gasket maker. I've had very good luck with it in the past. This might be a little unnecessary using the gasket maker at all. You could put it on there dry with just a paper gasket, but I found that sometimes it's easier and quicker just to do it the first time and use this gasket maker. I've actually had these gaskets leak, so it's easier just to do this little step. That way everything goes together nice and smooth. You don't have any issues. It sucks having to get this all together and then find out, oh, my water pump's leaking after you get the radiator back in and coolant in. No sense to go overboard with this, but I like to cover every contact area where this gasket's going to be meeting another surface. Just give it the best result that you can possibly give it while you're in here. Once you install this, it's best to give it the benefit of the doubt and just give it a little bit of time to dry, before putting antifreeze back into the engine. Obviously you got to put the radiator on and everything else, and that takes time, so you don't really have to worry too much about it. So now we're going to use these 4 5/16 bolts that we've got with the outer shell of the water pump. It's kind of a weird design. I don't know why they made a 2-piece water pump like this, but it works. It's worked for many years, but it's just interesting how they do that, or why they did that. So one thing that's different with this new water pump is this right here is machined thicker than the old one. So what happens is whenever I've got my generator bracket, it's supposed to fit over that water pump. So I've got to modify this bracket now so that it will fit over the water pump on the outside. Now, minor, but that's the way things go whenever you get these aftermarket parts. So what I did to correct this issue with this bracket for the generator was this right here. I took the bracket and I cut it, and I essentially just filled the difference with weld, so that way it lines up real nice whenever I put this generator into where it belongs. It's a little bit of messing around, but that should be a really nice solution. What a difference just a little bit of paint makes. Look at that. Got the fan on. You can see my little bracket there that I had to recreate for the generator. I also had to make this for the power steering lines. I had to make this little clamp here, and I had to make another clamp, and I got a bracket that goes to the stud that the radiator sits on. I'm trying to get that so that these don't move around too much. And I used urethane, which is what we use on windshields, to glue the hoses inside these clamps. So I don't think that's going to go anywhere, so we'll give that a try. On to the next thing.